Hi class. Welcome to the Principles of Management class, BSB 204, or for any other person who is taking the unit, maybe from community development, from IT, you are all welcome. So today we'll be looking at the introduction to management. And before we move on, I want to urge all of us that the notes are already posted in the portal. Kindly be looking at them. I will be posting notes for every lecture before the class so that you can look at them, and I would appreciate if you're able to read before me. Secondly, kindly observe the deadlines I've already put the dates on the portal. So please observe the deadlines. For the cards, one is group work, and the other one will be a sit-in card. So please observe the deadlines. So for us to be able to study this unit, Principles of Management, we need to look at the definition of management first so that we can be able to understand where we are coming from. So we are saying that management can be defined as a set of activities directed at the efficient and effective utilization of resources in order to achieve organizational objectives. Remember, the reason why management exists is because we want to achieve the goals and the objectives of the organization. So for us to be able to be successful, then there are set of activities so that we can be able to utilize the resources that we have in order for us to meet the organizational goals. So we are saying that management focuses on the entire organization from both a short and a long-term perspective. And management is a managerial process of forming a strategic vision, setting objectives, crafting a strategy, and then implementing and executing the strategy, because you cannot be able to manage successfully if you don't have a strategy. So other different definitions depending with what you would find easy for you to understand. Management is the act of getting things done through and with people in formally organized groups. So getting things done, that is why managers exist. We can also say that it is the act of creating an environment in which people can perform as individuals and yet cooperate towards attainment of group goals. So remember, at the end of it all, as an organization, we are trying to achieve the set goals. We are trying to achieve our vision and our mission. And so there are things that we need to do for us to be able to get to our goals. And so all the things that we try to do for us to be able to get to our goals, that is what is called managing or management. So management is the art of getting things done through other people. It's a process of achieving results through the efficient utilization of human and material resources. And here when we talk about resources, we are referring to the human resource, that is the people or the staff members, and we're talking about other materials. It could be assets like vehicles, buildings, and all that. And it also could be other assets like cash, money that is required for us to be able to move on. So what are the characteristics of management? One, we are saying that management is universal. It is applicable everywhere. It is applicable everywhere. It doesn't matter what kind of business you are running. Is it a school? Is it a hospital? Is it a bank? Management is required everywhere. And that is why we are saying it is universal. It applies at all organizations. If you have a goal, a strategy, a mission, or a vision, then you need management to be able to get to that goal. So you're saying it is also purposeful to achieve a specific objective. It could be one objective, it could be two objectives, it could be even 5 objectives, depending with what your organization is looking at. Number 4, management is concerned with productivity, which implies effectiveness and efficiency. So we are looking at productivity. At the end of the day, we want to look at our books of accounts and see what have we been able to achieve. What do we have? What didn't we have? Number 5, management involves the allocation and control of human, money, and other physical resources. Like I'd mentioned there before, that the most important thing about management is to be able to appropriate the staff members, the money, and the physical resources. Every resource to be able to be, to be appropriated well so that it's able to serve the purpose of the organization. Then management is an organizational function, just like sales, marketing, or finance. And then we're saying that management is like an investment. Managers have resources to invest, so they invest their time, they invest their talent, and possibly human resource. So those are the characteristics of management. So what does management exist to do? We look at the functions of management, and they are straightforward. The first one is planning. The second one is organizing. The third one is controlling. The fourth one is coordinating. And the fifth one is leading and directing functions of management. And so you realize that now, from now henceforth, after this topic, now we'll be looking at each function of management on its own. What is planning? What is organizing? What is controlling? What is coordinating? What is leading and directing? Each one of them on its own. And so for a beginning, we just look at a brief definition of each one of them, just for us to have an idea of what we'll be looking at. But like I've said, that we'll be looking at each one of them in depth, because these are the functions of management. A manager, when they come to an office, this is what they start doing. They start from planning, they go to organizing, they go to coordinating, they go to leading and directing, they go to controlling. So planning, what is planning? Planning is deciding in advance what to do, how to do it, and when to do it. So you are deciding in advance. You plan what needs to be done. In this organization, when we start our month in January, what do we need to do in January? What do we need to do in February? All the way. So we have to decide what to do. And remember, we are deciding what to do because we have a goal, we have a mission, we have a vision to accomplish. So we are thinking, what do we need to do for us to be able to accomplish those goals? Number 2 is organizing. This is a process of grouping similar activities together and resources in a logical and in an appropriate way. What do you mean by this? Now that you have already planned that we need to do 1, 2, 3, 4, then we look at the resources that we have. It could be human resource. It could be other resources that we have already mentioned. So you try and group similar activities together so that you can be able to assign resources to them. So if we are talking about marketing activities, you put them together. Procurement activities, you put them together. Finance and account activities, you group them together in an appropriate way. After you have done that, then you move to the third step, which is coordinating. And we are saying it is the process of harmonizing group activities and directing them towards a common direction. So if you have put similar activities together, then now you are trying to harmonize them. You are trying to arrange them in such a way that they can all be done together without leaving any one of them. So remember, after planning, you put the similar activities together. Then those activities, now you start directing them so that they can be done in a particular way. Number 4, leading and directing. This involves guiding and directing employees towards organizational goals commitment. So when they start working, then you need to guide them and tell them that now that you are doing 1, 2, 3, 4, remember that this is our goal, this is our vision, this is our mission, this is what we need to accomplish. So you direct and lead them towards that goal. And then the last one is controlling. It is a process of measuring actual performance or results against the set standards, targets or objectives, and taking corrections and actions if there are any deviations. Now, when it comes to controlling, this is a very important function of management. What happens here is that when you plan, for example, Let's say when you planned at the beginning of the year, you are saying in our organization, let's say ABC Company Limited, by the end of December 2024 or by the end of December 2025, we will have achieved a profit of 1 million. That was your plan. So when it comes to November, you want to see our goal was 1 million. How much do we have by November? So what is the actual performance and how and what was your set goals? If you subtract that one, you will get to see whether there's a deviation, whether you are falling short, and you can be able now to take a corrective action. And the good thing about management is that we don't wait for the end of the year for us to realize that we don't achieve our goal. What we do is that we coordinate, we control as we continue. What do we mean? If we are set to achieve 1 million cash as profit by the end of 1 year, then that means we have to look at our results on a quarterly basis. Between January and April, how much do we have? So that we are able to determine whether by the end of the year, we'll have achieved our 1 million target. So if we realize that between January and April, at least we have around 450,000 as profit, then we are almost sure that at the end of the year, we'll be close to 1 million. So when you start controlling, you are checking. We planned that we need to get 1 million. How much do we have? And why did we fall short of that? So you take corrective action immediately so that you don't get to the end of the year without you having achieved what you want. So we are now looking at managerial roles. And we can say that managerial roles are grouped into 3. One role of a manager is interpersonal role. Here we are saying that roles concerned with dealing with other people and other organizations. When it comes to interpersonal role, a manager is the one who deals with the organization, or rather who is almost like a liaison officer, a figurehead, a spokesperson between the organization they are working with and another organization. Number 2 is informational role. We are saying that it is the role of a manager to be able to disseminate information, to be able to monitor information, what information is coming out and what information is coming in. They are in control of the communication. Number 3, it is a decisional role. So we are saying this is a sort of an entrepreneurship role. So you are looking out for opportunities. You are the disturbance handler. So you resolve conflicts in individuals and groups. You are the resource allocator. You are the negotiator. So that is your role. You are looking out for any opportunities outside there. You are also looking at any new things that can be introduced into your company for you to make things more efficient. You also, resolve conflicts among staff members, and you will see when we'll be doing group dynamics much later in the unit, you realize that people stay together and they are likely to have conflicts amongst them. So it is the role of the manager to come in between, to try and negotiate, to try and understand what the issue is, to allocate resources and to ensure that everybody is comfortable in doing whatever they are supposed to be doing. And then there are 3 levels of management. 3 levels of management, and you realize there is a top management, which is the highest level, and this could include CEOs, chief executive officers. This could include senior managers. This could include immediate deputies or even their senior managers. And in most cases, or in most organizations, top managers are responsible to the board of directors. They report to the board of directors. So what is their work? They are responsible for setting overall organizational goals and formulating the policies and the strategy of the organizations. They are the people who sit together. They come up with goals. They come up with the vision of the organization. They come up with the mission. They sort of set the goals for everybody to see this is where we are. They also represent the organization in the external environment, and yes, that is their work. Then we have the middle level managers. They are responsible for implementing the strategies and policies that have been set by the top management. So after the top management has set the goals and the policies and the strategies, then the middle managers implement those strategies. They are the people who are now responsible of coordinating the work of the first line manager, so that whatever has been said by the top management, then it can be implemented. They are also responsible for deciding which products or services to produce. Then we have the third level, which is the first line manager or first line management. We are saying that it is the lowest level of management, where managers at this level supervise operative employees. So these are the managers who are very close to now the employees. They actually work with them. If you go to a certain workshop, a production or workshop, you'll find a production line manager already there. If you go, let's say, to a finance department, you'll find a finance manager who is in the first line, whose work is to supervise directly the operative employees. And now their work actually is to oversee the work of the operating employees. And remember now the employees are actually working. They are actually implementing what was decided. So the first line managers, in most of the cases, you will find they are the section heads, they are the heads of departments, they are the foremen, and to some extent, they can also be called supervisors. So they do allocation of tasks, and they do allocation of resources, and they ensure that employees are able to produce. They are able to work and to work effectively. Then we look at the management skills, because we realize that as a manager, can you assume you are working, let's say, as a production manager, and you are a first line manager? There are some skills that you need to possess while you're there, because remember, now you are with the employees. There are some skills that you really need while you are there. Suppose somebody is stuck with a machine somewhere and they cannot be able to work. And maybe this is a new employee. What are you supposed to do? Suppose they are, an issue with employees as they are working together. There are conflicts between them. What skills do you need to possess for you to ensure that you are able to coordinate them and that they are working effectively? So this is what we are saying. The skills are the various talents that managers need to perform their roles effectively. What talents do you need? A skill is an ability or proficiency in performing a particular task. So different types of skills are required by modern managers as their jobs become more complex. We are dealing with a diverse range of employees. We're also dealing with machines, technologies that are new every day. So what skills do you think that you need to have as a manager? And this is what you're going to look at. So the first one here is the technical skills. Here we are saying that there are skills that a manager needs to have so that they are able to perform specialized tasks within the organization. By this we mean that somebody may be stuck with a particular machine, and that is where you are. You need to be ahead of the game. You need to be able to understand what that machine does and how it works, so that if they are stuck, then you're able to assist them. So you need technical skills. If you are a finance manager and somebody is stuck with an account query or with a finance query, you should be able to look at it as a finance manager or account manager and be able to give direction. Then the other one is the conceptual skills. It relates to a manager's ability to think in an abstract. This is very, very important. It is where managers need to see relationship between forces, between others, and be able to understand how various factors are interrelated between the organization and its environment. Here, the manager is trying to bring the staff members together for them to understand how their particular duty or work, how it affects the overall organization. That's why we are saying they should have have the ability to think in an abstract. They should be able to see the whole organization and see how their particular department or particular task or particular staff contributes to the overall goal of the organization, so that they are able to bring the staff together to see how they all contribute to the overall goal of the organization. Otherwise, if you don't have conceptual skill, there's a possibility for employees to just look at what they do and they think that their job is an isolated task. But they're not able to see how that task contributes to the overall success of the organization. And a manager should be able to do that and do it well. Then we also talk about diagnostic skills. These are skills that you have and you are able to define and understand situations. We are saying that managers should not be the people who should be caught off guard by the things that are happening in the company. Somebody should be able to look at an issue and be able to diagnose and see if this is not solved, it might lead to this. If this is not done, it might lead to this. So somebody needs to be very practical. Somebody needs to understand what is happening, either between the employees or between the tasks they are doing. Then human relation skills, very, very important. You need to have a human face as a manager. Why? Because you're interacting with people who have got challenges. Maybe somebody struggling with an issue at home. Somebody could be unwell. Somebody could be stressed because of whatever issue may be happening at home or in the workplace. So as a manager, you have to put on a human face. Be able to understand them when they express their fears. Be able to encourage them. Be able to help them participate. Be able to involve them. Some of them could be having some sort of temperaments that makes them have maybe issues to do with low self-esteem, or are feeling like, I don't want to interact with others, or others who are feeling they know everything and so they can work very well. So you need to be able to bring all these people together. Then the last one, and very important, is stress and change management skills. And I must say that we live in a very stressful environment, like I'd said there before. And if this one is not handled, people are likely to be affected. And if they're affected, that one actually reflects in the books of accounts. So you need, as a manager, to be able to understand, where are these people coming from? What are the stressors in their lives? The other aspect is an aspect about change. Change comes with its own advantages and disadvantages. And because change is inevitable, you need to be in a position as a manager where people are comfortable with change. That when change comes, somebody doesn't feel like they are threatened. Somebody doesn't feel like they're going to become redundant. How do you help them to be able to cope with that change? How do you help them to learn the new ways of doing things? And even if somebody's job is going to be rendered redundant, what do you do as a manager to be able to help them to cope with that situation? So we are saying change is inevitable, but as a manager, you need to help your employees to be able to work through it, to be able to appreciate change, to be able to see the good in it. And lastly, the last portion that we are going to look at today is strategic management, which is something that we cannot wish away as modern managers. We need to be strategic about management. And we're saying that it is the ongoing process of ensuring competitively superior fit between the organization and its ever-changing environment. It consists strategic planning, implementation, and control in order to ensure long-term success. So here we are saying that we don't just manage for the sake of managing. We don't just plan for the sake of planning. We don't just organize for the sake of organizing. But we want to plan in a very competitive way. We want to organize and organize in a very competitive way. And how do we do that? We have to have in our minds that the environment in which we are operating is changing. And so we have to look at the environment even as we plan. We have to look at the external environment and the internal environment, which is the organization, and plan with those in mind. And that is the only way that we can be able to ensure long-term success. It involves systematically and continuously adjusting, updating, fine-tuning strategic plans as the environmental conditions change. So we are saying here that we can't wish away the fact that our organization is operating in a certain environment. It is operating in a certain political environment. It is operating in a certain social environment. It is operating in a certain economic environment. It is operating in a certain legal environment. And so even as we continue to do our work every day, we must be conscious of what does the law require of us as far as our business is concerned. What does the law require of us as far as the economic status of our business is concerned? And so as we are planning, we have put all those factors in mind to ensure that we are doing it well and we are doing it in a very competitive way. So next, we'll look at strategic management model. Strategic management model. And we're saying that strategic management model consists of environmental scanning. It consists of strategy formulation. It consists of strategy implementation, and it consists of evaluation and control. Evaluation and control. So thank you so much. What we'll do is that we will look at the notes that I have sent to you and be able to get comprehensive notes of just what I have covered today. Please note that in our PowerPoint presentation, we sort of highlight the hard or rather the complex points. But it is your duty for you as a student to go back and read and for you to try and understand. And in case there's a question, please reach out to me. My cell phone number and my email address is already in your course outline. So I wish you a blessed semester, even as we continue, and hoping that we'll be able to move together and we'll be able to enjoy this unit, and that if there is anything that we don't understand, you can raise it with me, either in class or through writing. Lastly, before we finish, let me look at briefly the qualities of a manager, which I find very, very important. And they are actually straightforward just before we finish. Qualities of a manager: must be a good communicator. Must be a good communicator. And actually, we are saying excellent communication, so that the employees understand where you are, what is it that you want done, and that you're also able to share the information that is required. Then another quality is somebody who is knowledgeable. You must be knowledgeable, of course, in your work. And that is why if it's a finance manager, we hire a finance person. If it's a human resource manager, we hire a human resource person or somebody who has human resource background. Why? Because we need somebody who is knowledgeable. Another one is somebody who is able to manage time and manage it very well. That is very, very important for a manager. If you're not able to manage time as a manager, everybody else will not be able to manage. So you lead by example. The other quality is somebody who is respectful. You respect your employees, listen to them just like they listen to you. Somebody who is honest. You have to decide to be honest so that whatever you say is taken to be true. And somebody who is also responsible of what you are doing. And the last one is the ability for you to delegate. That is very, very important. Remember, as a manager, you also need to train your juniors. because you will not remain in that position forever. You need to train your juniors and train them well. So those are the qualities of a manager. I thought it's not good for me to finish this class before I have mentioned them. So thank you so much and bye-bye.